Hello YouTube, welcome. In this video, we will make some kind of podcast with mi amigo Maze. Maze is Succession Drakania main. He also knows many things about Awakened Drakania. We can call he is Drakania main like me, but he is playing mainly Succession Drakania, and I'm playing mainly Awakening. We both know both weapon stance, both form, and we want to talk about the Drakania buffs. And people asking me how Drakania like Succ good, Awakening good. We will talk about it. Welcome Maze, how are you?
Hey, thanks for having me. Doing well. Happy with the buffs.
Okay, so today we got Drakania buffs. Like most of the Drakania players or the most of the BDO community, like they know that I sent 5 different reports, and BDO hub, the Discord hub, the class Discord send 1 or 2 different reports, like more than 10 different professional and well prepared reports, I believe, sent to PA how we can fix this class. And overall, I cannot say that they didn't listen what we say. They listened what we said about the nerfs on Awakening Drakania, the PvP nerfs, but they almost never ever listened what we expect from them to fix the class chronic issues. Succession Drakania and an Awakening Drakania, they tons of chronic issues that those chronic issues not let the class feels good on PvE. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, 100% agree. There were your reports, there were like some community reports put together, and like many of the issues there have not been addressed yet. Some of them kind of have been, but not to a big degree. Like for Succession Drakania, as you know, like mostly it has been at least we were beholden to the cooldown of Brimbolt Strike and Wave for so long because when that's off cooldown, you're suddenly a less powerful version of yourself. And then suddenly you're a very powerful class. And then you're not powerful again. So, lowering cooldowns is definitely a big thing. And so on and so forth. So, kind of seeing signs of beginnings of that, at least with this patch. So, I mean, at least for Succession.
Yeah,
but
now
we'll see.
I'm showing it on screen right now. Let's check the skills, what they did, and why we feel good or why we feel bad or being neutral about the changes. Prime Essence, SC skill. Cooldown change from 15 to 12 seconds, and also they adjust the tier 3 add-on to tier 2. It's because the rule is 13 seconds or more skills will have the tier 3. So what do you think about this one? Is this really going to affect the class?
I think it's a W mainly because I've always felt that Ascent, whenever I need it, it was always like 2-3 seconds away during my rotation. So I would end up going into like Dominion instead. And we usually do like Flourish and then we do Ascent and we do Dominion. But if you do Flourish and this is on cooldown, then you just go into Dominion and then you never end up using this a lot of times. Whereas now today I was testing DSR and Tungrad, and whenever I needed it, it was usually up. So I think if I pay more attention to it, I can always kind of have it up and be more useful. And it's doing more damage now too, so it's both increased in DPS and damage, which I think is a W.
Yeah, I agree. It's W. Every cooldown reduction on Awakening and Succession, it's W. I wasn't expecting this cooldown reduction on this skill, but it was good. Let's check the buff.
Neither.
Yeah, they non-stop buffing the Brimbolt right now. We talked it yesterday, by the way. Like by far the highest PvE damage skill in the game. I'm not kidding. This skill with the flow and there's some additional damages in the main skill and the flow. You can do the math if you want. Skill has approximately 70,000 multipliers, like 70,000 damage in the skills without crit multiplier or something. Literally, when you just add all the multipliers, you reach the 70,000 after this patch. I have to express this thing. Right now in the game, the classes, the good, for example, the ultimate skills, they have like 50k damage or something. What do you think about this one? 70k damage in one skill, and class feels still not okay. Why it's like that?
I mean, it's doing a crazy amount of damage for sure. And like I felt that at Tungrad this time. So before this update, I would have to do Brimbolt Strike, Wave, and then Sundering Claw for cleanup. But now I'm not having to do that. Brimbolt just destroys everything, and then I can move on to the next pack. So I guess it has been useful in that regard, but is it really the main thing that needed fixing? No, I'll take it, but we definitely have other issues.
Exactly. The other skill is Blazing Strike. By the way, you may wonder why I'm just passing the normal skills. We do not use the normal version of the skills, if you guys wonder. We always use the skills with the iron outputs. That's why we check the iron outputs. So Brimbolt, and most of the skills, they generally got 8 to 12% buff or something. I'll not calculate all of them. They buffed the Blazing Strike skill. Now it has like 25.5k damage approximately. Do you think is that really necessary? Did you feel the change?
I think Blazing and Sundering, we'll see Sundering as well, but those are nice because now they're kind of doing, in combination, they're doing damage equal to the old Brimbolt Strike and Wave. So when you do Sundering Claw, Blazing Strike, you can end up clearing packs in PvE as well. Sometimes you need to clean up, and then you have Ascent with its new cooldown and Flourish. So again, like, it wasn't the main thing we needed, but it is, they're all increases. So I don't know, like, if it's fine to say we didn't need this. Like, sure, we'll take it.
True. Lunar Lee is also chat. Like, Lunar Lee is also very old Succession Drakania, and like, he also know the issues. Like, we will talk about the chronic issues about the class. Matrohan and Flourish, they also buff the skill. Like, right now, we will see like many buffs in here. Overall, every one of them is acceptable. Like 10% buffs on the skills. The Brimbolt damage buff, it wasn't necessary, but I believe PA did some kind of, okay, what is this? Main damage skill. Oh, give 10%. What is this? Okay, good damage skill. Give 10%, 10%, 10%. Like, they just gave 10% damage to the main skills mostly. Okay.
Yeah.
Then it's okay. Why we still say that class feels some kind of outdated or bad, or whenever you need to do something initial damage you feel bad, let me show it in game, and you also can share your thoughts what I'm talking about.
Sure.
So here we go. Hold up. So one of the first is Prime Omni Slash skill. Prime Omni Slash, we almost never use the first hit of the skill. Every time I'm talking that detail. And the first hit of the skill, it has 35% of the total damage that skill has. Skill has approximately 18k damage, and 6k of the damage sitting on the attack number 1. We are losing damage in there. And every time, whenever we say something, damage attack number 2 and 3, set the PvP damage reduction according to that. Even in PvP, we do not use most of the time attack number 1 and 2. 1, it's because we use 2 and 3. 3 is just used to get, like, to shred our enemy, which is quite outdated. And also for knockdown, and you also said that knockdown sometimes being a little bit late, I cannot CC people. And you said that I'm using SF. It's quite interesting because PA wanted to created this skill to, re-CC someone while you DP shred. It's quite common thing in 1 versus 1 scenario whenever you catch 3 people at the same time. Like, I don't know, like, skills chronic issue, attack number 1 is totally useless and PA non-stop buffing it. Please buff attack number 2 and 3. And also the other chronic issue in 2025, why it shreds 15 DP. My suggestion is, I don't know if you like it, I will give the microphone to you. Increase the cooldown to 6 seconds, make the skill as tier 2, so we will benefit the tier 2 add-on. Increase the attack damage multiplier to like the 2 and 3 from 4k to 6k. Then skill is slow. Let me show it to you. Attack number 1, 2 and 3. There's like 2 and 3. And let's just make the skill deals proper damage on 2 and 3, and also DP shred to 20. What do you think about this skill?
So I'll kind of talk about PvE first, because PvP is a completely different idea. But I mean, in PvE, you're right. Like, the shred is too low in this current meta. When classes are shredding, like Deadeye, for example, whenever she uses her shotgun, whatever skill she uses with her shotgun, she's shredding 30 DP. And we're still stuck at 15. And that makes a huge difference at endgame spots, especially like DSR and stuff, where you got these tanky mobs. So I 100% agree. Increase the DP shred, speed up the animation, delete the first hit, and give the damage to the second and third hits, and maybe even make it protected for PvP, because it's suicide to use it outside of 1v1s right now. So Omni Slash is my maybe most hated skill in the whole kit, and it needs a lot of attention. But if it got some attention, it would really boost the class, like, single-handedly, I think.
Yeah. So Embers, F skill, bad damage, giving all AP buff, like 10 AP in 2025. Yeah. Why 10 AP? Where is my 20 self AP buff? Like all other classes. 10 AP buff, and bad damage. And also 3 second. Like I said in before, for PvE, these are the skills. And also we have Brimbolt Raise, Embers, and Omni Slash. We are using these skills to buff ourselves. Ion Charge as a filler damage on shred the DP of the mobs. What is 4 multiplier 1? In 2020, what is 4 multiplier 1?
Yeah.
Like, why it's not like 7,000 multiplier 1 and 7,000 multiplier 1? And why this is not 20 AP instead of 10? Like, make the skill 6 second cooldown, tier 2 add-on, good for start, get your buffs, deal proper filler damage, and get your 20 AP buff. Simple. What do you think?
Yeah, agreed on everything. Again, animation's too slow for what it does. Again, comparing to the 2025 meta, people just click a button and suddenly they have extra 20 AP, whereas we have to spin around for almost a second and a half, I believe, and it's unprotected. So, like, I lock this in PvP as well, usually, because it just, my WF sometimes gets cancelled and I do Embers and then I get CC'd. And then in PvE, it slows down my combos so much that it is the first skill I try to remove from my PvE combos as I gear up. So yeah, AP 20, faster animation, maybe give it a frontal guard at least. I mean, it can't hurt. It doesn't really count as protection these days anyway. So yeah, fully agree. Third worst skill in the kit.
Okay, the other one for me is Brimbolt Race. Like, 6 second is pretty good, but the damage in it, I don't like it. I don't know what you think. I want to see like 16 or 18,000 total damage in this skill, but it has 10k.
I mean, so that's a good point, and it kind of ties in with my most hated skill in the kit, or maybe second. We actually joke about this on the Drak Discord. Everybody's voting for their worst skill in the kit, and everybody says it's either Omni Slash or Skewer. So Skewer is a terrible skill. If you click on it, you'll see that it gives you your accuracy buff, and it gives you 6 ions. But unfortunately, it's fully unprotected, and it's RMB, which means like whenever you try to do Brimbolt Raise or Brimbolt Strike, you are doing this skill a lot and getting CC'd in PvP. In PvE, it's okay, but you don't really need accuracy these days for PvE. And you get your ions, sure, fine. But honestly, like this accuracy buff used to be on Brimbolt Raise. It should be back on Brimbolt Raise. And it should be not on hit, it should be on use. This is the most painful thing about it. You're in PvP, and you're trying to hit people with an unprotected skill to get 6% accuracy for 10 seconds. It's a horrible skill. And we fall behind in accuracy because of that, because most Dracs lock that skill. But if we come back to Brimbolt Raise, I mean, yeah, totally agreed. Give it the accuracy buff. Maybe it should generate more ions. It should do a little more damage. Again, faster animation. It's definitely not the worst skill in the kit, but it's not in my top 5 or 6 either.
Yeah. So PA wants us, whenever we need to use these skills, we talked about 4 skills, to deal some damage or, to get our buffs. Self buffs. We talked about accuracy buff. Yes, we do not need right now in PvE, but what if we will need it for some specific contents? Look at the damage, 2.8k multiplied 2 for this one. Look how slow it is. And also it's quite annoying after some certain skills, SRMB or Shift RMB, like after these skills, it's quite annoying. And the other skills has quite low damage. Like if you want to compare it to 2020, those numbers are perfect, but it's 2025. People has lots of damage in their skill kit, they have enough skills to compensate to cover the entire missing part of their combo, and they're having no problem. But the problem is when you try to do something in this class. I'm just giving an example. When you do your combo, you're doing this, for example, to get your buff, to apply debuff, and also there's F. You're just wasting time. Let me do it again, for example. You're doing this, and that's like in that 4 seconds, 3 seconds or something, you're dealing very low damage. And you kind of have to do this. That's why class feels bad whenever you need some kind of average results.
That's kind of a good summary of all of the non-ion spending skills, honestly. Like every single one. Low damage, slow animations, high cooldowns, low outcomes. And they did boost them last time around, but they didn't boost them this time. So
like bad DP shred, bad self AP buff. Also, these are the minus things, the bad things about the class. Yeah. Like, for example, I suggested that Shift E has very bad damage, for example, if you ask me. Because slow animation.
And you can't
slow
cancel
animation.
it.
Like even if
Only
you
with
cancel
E.
it, like it feels bad. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You can cancel with E. Can you like I know like Shift E and E whenever you cancel it? Yeah.
You can
But
just
it feels
cancel. Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
it's bad because it's
Bad, yeah.
unprotected all of a sudden.
And for example, I suggested to this something for PvE. We have the second Shift X Fang. Why PA not just buff this skill for a little bit more damage? For example, 6,000 multiply 1 and 12,000 multiply 1, and they can just create a good damage skill like this. 18,000 multipliers in total, and we can add one more skill in this skill rotation, and that can solve the maybe infinite combo problem on the class.
Yeah, definitely.
Like
yeah,
we
and
talked
then
about.
the other revamp too, Dragon's Assault. It shreds 15 DP again. Why? So again, you can't put add-ons on that, but that maybe that should be 30, 20, I don't know. Because we use that a lot.
Yeah, we're using it to stay protected and move most of the time.
Yeah, even Awakened Drax use that a
Yeah.
lot. So it's
True,
a very
true,
useful revamp.
Yeah. On the other hand, limit thing. So overall, today I did some tests at Darkseeker Street. What I felt, I only tested at Darkseeker. Probably at other spots, I think she feels okay. She started to feel okay with the damage buffs and also the cooldown reduction on the Ascent. I totally understand the logic behind our developers. They wanted to add one more skill into that 12-second cycle or two different 6-second cycle combinations, like fast spots like Tungrat Ruins or something, which is quite acceptable, which is quite good. So I don't know, maybe this is a little bit bad thing. Maybe they can reduce the cooldown of Shift F to 7 or maybe 6, but it will just break the PvP, maybe. I don't know.
No, I think it would be reasonable because Shift F is a frontal guard, right? And frontal guards are, they're nothing in PvE these days. PvP, as you know. But you get CC'd half the time you use Eviscerate. Let's be real. It's always a gamble. Even in AOS, there's so many CCs flying around. I think it would be fine. It would be fine to just reduce its cooldown, and it would help with PvE immensely because they boosted the damage on that quite a bit, 30% this time, I think. And it needed that, but it also gets you from pack to pack so quickly, and now it flows into Omni Slash. It cancels the first hit of Omni Slash, so you can just go right to the next pack and then DP shred right away, which works nicely.
Yeah, totally agree.
So yeah, if they reduce that cooldown to 6 seconds, that would be perfect.
Look at the chat, what he said. Frontal guard, that's a protection. Awakened Maegu asking.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's also like kind of adding a like frontal fast mobility skill a front guard, because when you just miss it, let's say that you missed it like this and your opponent is here, you're free to just get CC. Let's say that he cannot CC, but it's front guard. You're just moving forward, and I don't know, like I never understand that skills like kind of that skills like getting front guard protection.
Yeah,
it has to be super armor. You're just moving forward, and your backward is just ready to get CC.
Yep, and it happens so much.
Yeah, it would be good to see that skill get some cooldown reduction. 6 seconds would be very good. I mean, these are a little bit extra, but that's good. So while I'm grinding at Darkseeker Street, the damage on this class right now feels good. If I use my skills properly with a proper combo, I will also share it. Maze will also share it, and you guys will see damage is okay. But I'm stuck at 12-second cooldown cycle. It's for Darkseeker Street, and I think it is acceptable. The class cannot perform very good at it everywhere. I believe the changes after the Succession Drakania, except Darkseeker Street, she will perform okay at most of the spots in the game. What do you think?
So I put out a video shortly before these buffs were on Global Labs, and there I kind of broke it down into two parts. And so I'll do that again, just so, because I know people are asking about it on stream a lot. If you're doing like Dekia spots, or you're doing something like Highlands or Gyfins, she was already S tier at those spots. If you have the gear, if you have the crystals, if you're using the right rotations, she could perform, at top levels. And I've been able to cap out at most of these spots really early on, which I have in some grind videos. Because you don't have to move around, you don't have to go from pack to pack, and your cooldowns are not a problem, because by the time the next pack spawns, you have enough skills to kill the next pack. But I also said, she's S tier in those spots already, and I don't expect that to change at all. It'll be even easier to be S tier performance. But if you're looking at like Tungrad Ruins or DSR, the end game spots where you go pack to pack, I put him in B tier last time. Maybe today I also tested Tungrad and DSR like you did, and I have less gear than you. I felt like she could be a solid A tier if you play her correctly. She's probably not going to be S tier this time around, but you're going to make a good income still. If you like the class, it's easy to kind of play, easy on hands. So you can't really go wrong, but I wouldn't expect top performance yet at those particular spots.
Yeah. So I feel the same. For example, I have very high gear score. I'm kind of hard capped right now. I have everything what you need. And you said that I'm also having the problem that like I feel the damage or something like with 770, 780 gear score at Darkseeker Street. And like I'm not even using my Shift LMB, Shift E or SE for my combo to kill the big ones in most of the scenario. And I'm using Shift E SC to buy time to kill the minions at Darkseeker Street. People just witnessed that today on stream. You know what happened? Like I just waited like 3 seconds, sometimes 4 seconds to get my Sundering Claw back on the other pack. Like 12-second cycles just put insane big bottleneck.
Right.
Yeah, like, but I'm not just saying that class is bad because of that. I'm just saying that class has insane damage right now in the skill kit, and she's doing good. But at some spots, because of her kit problem, she cannot perform some kind of S tier performance. That's why, I don't know if you agree with me or something, overall when you do some kind of comparison with other classes and also do some average on her performance on all other spots, expected average, I would say that Succession Drakania, in summary, now playable, worth your time. For people.
Yeah, I totally agree. Especially because most of our end game spots that make decent money outside of DSR are, tower spots or Dekia spots. And you'll just easily cap out at those now. You'll easily cap out at Ysraid Highlands. And then even some pack-to-pack spots I tested, like Primal Giants, Orcs, mid-game spots, Honglin Base. You're going to do really well at those spots anyway. So, but if you must grind DSR and you really, really expect like maximum performance, you can tag a character and just play that character on those spots for now. But honestly, like she's more than enough for me personally. So I'm kind of happy with where she's at right now. But her chronic issues still remain. So hopefully they'll be addressed pretty soon, especially in PvP. Outside of large scale, she's very powerful in large scale, but outside of large scale, she needs some attention.
Yeah. Well, now I just remember. I would love to see one more DP shred on this skill. I don't know which skill would be good for that. Maybe Brimbolt. Do you think it will be broken for PvP?
I mean, yeah, you're gonna DP shred 10 people at a time while hitting them really hard with 100% crit rate. Could be Flourish, to be honest. Shift LB.
Maybe Shift E
or Shift
Dominion?
E. Yeah, could be.
So
could be.
Like,
yeah.
You know what they can do? They can just increase the speed. They can reduce the cooldown to 6 seconds. They can keep the damage same on this skill. And they can add 20 DP shred. And they can remove the DP shred on the Omni Slash. And nobody use Omni Slash. And everybody will be happy. Problem solved.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to be honest, like I'm an optimist. So the way I see it now, because last time we got buffed 3 months ago or so, I thought, okay, damn, this was it. We're not going to see anything happen with our class for another 2 years now. So then this was a big surprise. Kind of gives me hope that they're buffing and then they're keeping track of the results. And they're applying more buffs if they see that people are not really playing the class much or not performing well. So hopefully they'll revisit this stuff and take it into account. But you can call it copium as well.
I believe it's a little bit copium. Not an overdose copium, but kind of copium. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. We will see. Maze is still green, doesn't know how PA works, so optimistic. Poppins, welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
I have enough copium for the whole BDO player base. No worries.
Yeah. So do you have anything that you want to talk about Succession? We can start for Awakening.
Yeah, I mean, last bit of a note, I guess, is the class is low APM. Unlike Awakening. So Awakening is a very complex kit. It takes a lot of time to learn and master. Succession is like very beginner friendly, very early game friendly now. So I feel good recommending her to newcomers and seasoned players as well nowadays. And her skill ceiling is still not as low as some other classes. especially some of the newer classes that are so much easier to play. But I think she's the right amount of challenge and right amount of fun. So yeah, I mean, I kind of feel comfortable recommending her at any spot nowadays.
Yeah, thank you. I share your thoughts. Let's talk about Awakening a little bit. Is her big pain, I believe.
Yeah.
Enough not to follow speed wall? Yes, true. So today, I tested Awakening Drakania at Darkseeker Street, and I encountered with the same results. I mean, literally nothing changed. And we saw that again, our developers has no clue about this class, especially the Awakening kit. They don't know what is going on. They don't know how it is working. They don't know how you're doing combo. They don't know how your combos just go into each other. You maybe viewers will not know that we have approximately 80 or more cancels and flows in this class in Awakening kit, which is quite big. And there are 2 useless skills in the skill kit, tip of scale. We only use this skill to get some self accuracy buff in PvP. In PvE, we never ever use this skill. Savage Decree in PvP, we almost never ever use this skill. In PvE, never use it. They PA non-stop buffing these skills. And they're not understanding the problems is that the damage. No, the skills, they are the problem. Animations, small AoE, useless long animation kit on these skills. We saw another, they buffed these skills 3 times in total, I believe. No, it's not about damage. If they want to just make these skills worth the use, let me just say the numbers. Make this one 4,000 multiplied 2, 8,000 multiplied 2, then maybe we can use it. I'm still saying maybe, because skill has very bad animation and also very bad AoE. I'm still saying maybe with all the damage in it, and also bad crit rate. So we send lots of feedback. I mean, class hub, class Discord. The hub also sent very long and detailed report about Drakania, how we can fix it in PvE. And I also sent lots of them. 5 times I sent. They literally applied none of them. Literally nothing. Awakening kit also needs cooldown adjustments. Awakening kit also needs huge damage buff, crit rate increase maybe, and also maybe AoE increase. The class is not that much old, 2 to 3 years old, but kit feels outdated compared to other classes. What do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I haven't PvE'd with her too much. I've done some Highlands and Crypt back in the day, tried Tungrad a little bit. And yeah, I always felt a bit slower than Succession even before all the buffs. And you're right, it feels outdated. And right now, if we talk about PvP, I feel like she's living in a meta that doesn't exist yet. A meta where frontal guards are the main protection, and maybe there's less CCs in the game or something. She's definitely not designed for this current world where there's a million CCs flying at you every single second. But yeah, in PvE, I have no idea why they were just buffing all the skills that are outside of pretty much every content creator, including yourself, are using in their combos. I've never seen them. Surprising.
Yeah, I mean, tip of scale. When I use that skill only, let me show you. Before, if I just go in, I do this, Shift LMBQ. I get buff, I prepare myself. If I need it for next 10 seconds. Or whenever I catch somebody, to get extra accuracy buff, if I need accuracy, Shift F, Shift LMB. Or rarely, if I catch somebody with this KD, this one, space, Shift LMB, then Shift F. Then we are just using that skills 30th, or sometimes to get this accuracy buff like this, rarely. 30th and 1st we are using to get accuracy buff, not for damage. PA non-stop buffing this skill. Don't do that. Savage Decree. This is the skill. 1, 2, 3. Let me do it again. 1, 2, 3. And it's dealing 2k damage, 4k damage, and 8k damage with low crit rate, with bad AoE. Look at the AoE. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Sometimes some of the hits not hit that one. 1, 2, 3. So this is the AoE. And if this is the AoE, for example, check Deadeye. Deadeye has very narrow skills, very, very narrow skills. But they deal damage. They deal 20k, 25k damage in short period of time. We call it high DPS burst skills. If they just give a good burst on this one, I can maybe use SF, SL, and B like this one. That would be good. Maybe. I'm still saying maybe. But PA non-stop buffing these skills. Please stop to buff these skills. Nobody is using them. Nobody literally using them. Oh wait, there's some kind of extremely hidden things that sometimes I'm using. Like I used this time maybe 2 or 3 times while I'm doing some kind of 1v1 at arena. When you do go dive, when you catch someone with stiffness while in Hexablood form, it's quite rare because you do not do that. When you catch someone, there's some kind of like combo with the air attack burst damage, like because it has air attack and a float CC in it, unprotected. After then this one, you can use SRMB. Because if you use, after then this one, SRMB, it applies the 30th of SRMB, like this one.
Mm-hmm.
Like air attack damage. But I did that like maybe 2, maybe 3 times in history of Black Desert Online. So these are like very deep things that we are not using. So we need more things on this skill kit. So if you were a developer, what would you do to this class? I would love to see different opinions.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed playing Awakening a lot as well. She's like my second favorite class in the game, basically, after Succ. And I trained for like 3 months in this arena with a really good friend who plays it really, really well, like crazy good. And he taught me, and it was a pretty amazing class until they nerfed her like 4 times in a row. I haven't seen any class get that kind of treatment, by the way. How would I fix the class? I mean, for PvE, like, she needs more AoE, that's for sure. And I think the most AoE is in the blue skills, right?
Yeah.
So why are they buffing mostly the red skills that are not used that much? Like, buff the blue skills, let them do a lot of PvE damage, not aerial burst, but like Doombringer can do more damage. I don't know. Sundering Roar's cooldown is insanely high. It's higher than Brimbolt Strike.
And deals half damage.
Hello there.
Yeah, like that makes little sense. Make it do a lot of damage in PvE and reduce its cooldown. Tip of the scale, and then you go into Cloud Strife usually, right? Maybe you could do that for big damage. Increasing all of these blue skills in PvE and even PvP, I think, is something that needs to happen. What do you think?
Like I have many things to can say skill by skill.
Mm-hmm.
It will be a little bit long, but we can start. Legacy skill. This is a filler skill. Whenever we need to change our weapon stance, or whenever we need whenever we feel like we need time, we have time to use some kind of filler skills. 4,000 multiply 1. My dear friend, make it 8,000 multiply 1. Simple. Good filler skill. You're not using it all the time, but whenever you use it, it applies acceptable damage. On the other hand, the other skills that we can use in PvE, Constellate Club. Hexablood skill kit is sit on approximately 7-second cycle, but Club has 8-second cycle. It is just creating another 1 more second bottleneck that on the Club skill. So I have a suggestion to PA if they actually listen, or if the GMs or CMs watch this video and take some notes and send it to PA and see it or something. So reduce the cooldown of the Club, because Club has no protection. Club has no CC in it. If you do not count that down smash is CC, it's completely like empty skill. Make that skill like only pure damage skill. Make it 7-second and just give it like 9,000 multiply 2. Simple. Problem solved. Spiteful Soul skill. I would love to see more damage on this skill, and I also, if they want to keep the damage on the same, I would love to see more, by the way. This skill needs to damage like 35k or something, because the animation is long. 1, 2, and 3. And Club is just coming at the end of the day. Like pa 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 pa, and the Club. So while you're doing that, you're just losing time, okay? And also the other thing is, attack number 1 and 2's AoE is extremely small. 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3. As you see, 3 hits bigger AoE. My suggestion is make the attack number 1 and 2's AoE equal to attack number 3. So whenever I just fight against or try to grind it, crowded groups, when I just spam this skill, it hits every one of them. And whenever I just try to hit somebody with the attack number 1 and 2, it only hits the in front of the mob in front of me, the mob in front of me. So make the AoE number 1 and 2 bigger, equal to number 3. You already have the code of the AoE. You know how big is that thing. It's not that much hard. Put that code and make number 1 and 2, and it just make this skill is usable in most of the scenario. We are using this skill is because we do not have other options. That's the shittiest part of this class. Extinction. They buff this skill acceptably. 6.3k multiplied 2, fast animation is pretty good, pretty great. They can maybe add PV crit rate, but 30% is okay in these days with the sovereign weapon. Like this skill is quite fast. Like instantly stab, and the damage in it like 12.6k, sorry, it's acceptable. So right now the current extension is good. Full of obliterate. They didn't buff this skill from the release of the Obliterate. I'm not kidding. I'm not saying it. They now just buffed it. That's 7,500 multiplied 2. It's equal to 15,000 for this slow animation. Really? Like, it has to be at least 22k or something. Skill just needs damage buff. That's all. Just PV damage buff. Sundering Roar. Completely perfect skill. Hexablood Sundering Roar. Don't touch it. It's pretty good. Tectonic Stem. WE. Like, what in God's name that we have 2000 multiplied 2 in the game right now? Why? Why don't you let us to use skill for Evasion Shred or to get extra tier 2 add-ons or something? Why don't you just make that 7000 multiplied 2 and set the damage reduction in PvP? This skill. When you use this skill, you're just griefing yourself in PvE. But sometimes you need to use that. Sometimes you feel that you need to use it for additional tier 2 add-ons for some spots, but not always. Crackling Flame. It has quite nice DPS. Crackling Flame. If you have 100% crit on your character, or if you have 100% crit chance on this one. I really like Crackling Flame. Wait. This skill in PvP, in PvE, but I want to see a little bit big AoE because the consistency of all the skills in Hexablood. When you use F skill, it applies damage like this, like a banana, but this part is not getting damage. Why? So when I use SF deals nice damage in front of it, but F applied this. Why F has no flow or something, or why there is no attack number 2, and whenever I do, increase the cooldown to 6, SF, F attack number 1 and attack number 2 from here. That would be good because the DPS in this skill is quite nice. Because whenever you have your buffs, it comes fast. You don't even see how the other skills cancel it. It's quite nice. Storm Piercer. We never ever use attack number 1 and attack number 1. We mostly use if we need attack number 2 and 3. So just give damage buff attack number 2 and 3. 30%, 40%. Because that skill also, small AoE skill. It only hits front, and you know what we call it, like single target DPS skills. Bad DPS, slow animation, like just give damage. Like most of the time we talk about the damage and the chronic issues, cooldowns or something, and also reduce the cooldown from 8 to 7 seconds. All skills in Hexablood kit needs to be lower than 7 seconds or needs to be 7 seconds except Obliterate. Then we can rotate our skills properly whenever we need them. Whenever you see that any one of the skills in your skill kit, for example, here is the skill Shift F. Whenever you see that skill, you will understand that, hey, my Hexablood skills are ready. Let's just use them. Bam, bam, bam. Something like that. That would be good. They can fix Hexablood like that. On the other hand, the Dragon Blood. AoE on Dragon Blood, nice. I'm not kidding. AoE on Dragon Blood, nice. But the problem is DPS. And Dragon Blood skills, they mostly sit on 8 seconds. That's totally cool. Hexablood skills on 7 seconds. Dragon Blood skills sits on 8 seconds. That's pretty nice. Spiteful Soul and the flow hits on 9 seconds. Why? 8 seconds? 8 seconds? This is 6 seconds. This is 7 seconds. Why? Like, fix it. Make Spiteful Soul 8 seconds, 20% PV damage buff. This skill got buff, I know, but it was like a joke. Needs more buff because quite slow skill. Let me show it. This is the skill. Oh, bum. It just takes a year to use the skill. And I have another creative suggestion. Reduce the cooldown on the Cloud Strife. They already didn't give us add-on on this skill. I have no idea why PA not giving add-ons on this skill. Skill is completely kind of independent skill. Yes, it works like this flow, but it also works flow of this one too. You can use that skill after tip of scale, Shift LMB and flow, LMB RMB. Or after Shift RMB, you can keep press RMB, it use it. My suggestion is this. Remove cooldown. Don't bother yourself with the, what was the name? Add-ons. Remove cooldown. Let us use anytime when 2 of the skills ready. Like this one. Shift LMB RMB. Shift RMB and then that flow again. Simple. Savage Decree. They buffed this skill. It has 10k damage. It needs to be like 14,000. Needs damage. Dragon Blood skills needs damage. Literally they needs damage. Sundering Roar, 14-second cooldown. If they want to keep it 14 seconds, that's okay. But for 14 seconds, 40k damage with that low, slow animation is quite low. Look at the animation. It takes years to complete the skill. It's like 3 seconds skill, 3 seconds animation long, and only has 40k damage. Today it got 40k damage. It was 36k or something yesterday. Tectonic Slam. I don't know why they didn't buff this skill. Slow animation, 10k damage. But Hold up. I cannot say I have to just bully our developers. They buffed aerial burst 50%. Yeah.
Yep. Why?
This skill is just like for debuff or buy time a little bit or heal yourself or something. Like I understand they buffed skill, but if you really want to make this skill viable, why didn't you just buff like 7,000 multiply 2 to make it viable? From 2k, they buffed from 2.4, they did it like 3.8 or something. Really? Why? It's a joke. Yeah, it's a joke. I know. It's literally a joke. Doombringer. Very long animation skill. Look at that. It deals like 20k damage barely. You can do the math. Not even 20k. Maybe today it just went up to 20k. This skill needs 40% damage buff. Stormpiercer needs 30% damage buff. Savage Decree needs maybe 10% damage buff. Cloud Strife, remove cooldown, let us use after tip of scale or Spiteful Soul whenever we want, and increase the damage to 15k to 18,000. And Spiteful Soul, reduce the cooldown 9 to 8. If they want to keep the damage same, just keep it same. Tip of scale, pretty okay and acceptable skill. Tectonic Slam needs 40, maybe 50% damage buff. It's definitely outdated skill when we talk about the damage. Yeah, that's all. That's what I'm thinking about the PvE. That's how complicated to fix this class PvE. And we are expecting that our developers, that they maybe never played in like deep gameplay, and the class, we're expecting to fix this class. It took maybe 20 minutes to explain after 2 years of experience on the class. Also 7 years of Black Desert Online experience. Do you think anything? Do you have anything to say?
No. I mean, you said it all really well. Very complex class. Nobody who's at least played this class for a few months is going to be able to see the problems even. Because like you start to see the problems as you PvE with her and PvP with her and keep trying. There's like a gazillion combos you could create with this class. And like, going through all of them would be insane. But because there's so many cancels. So like, yeah, I mean, there's a good suggestion in chat. Like one of the devs, like for each class, somebody should main that class, really know it well. Or they can contract someone who's, I don't know, contract precision or someone who's playing at really high levels in AOS or whatever. And then talk to the Succ Drak players who are like top fragging in Node Wars or whatever is your concern. And then talk to those people and communicate and get their feedback. Like Choice and Divios, sure, but that's only 2 classes in the game. You know, talk to more content creators, talk to more good players, and like you'll get a lot more detailed explanations like this instead of having to buff random skills 10% each time.
Yeah. It's not a good solution. Just the random buffs to the random skills 10%. And you're just saying that if we are lucky, this time we will get the true skills. This time we will get the true buffs on the true skills.
Yeah, exactly.
Another RNG situation. I hate RNG.
Yeah, like Succession, it's easier. There's 6 ion spenders. So you're probably going to get lucky every time. But on Awakening, it's, you know, it really is RNG.
Skills. 26 active skills that you're using in the kit. More than 80 cancels and deflows. PA literally did a perfect job on this class, but they just created it, but they forget to adapt it according to the game. And now they cannot fix it. But we are ready to help it, but they're just ignoring us. I don't know how many thousands of people will watch this video, but I believe, I mean, don't my desperate situation, I believe it will not work. That's why I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be staggered for sure. Like, it'll take a few updates to fix her, even if they're all correct, little by little. She is a scary class in PvP, that's for sure. I understand that. She can do some really scary things in 1v1 or small scale. Large scale, she's, really tough to play now. But, they're probably afraid of making her a crazy situation again. But like I said, there are other classes who are really dominating AOS for so many seasons now. So if those are not a problem, then Drak shouldn't be such a big problem to balance either.
If they're ready to, listen what we say, I don't know. Let me just what chat is saying. Saying you're going to buff the core skills and then do that is nothing short of ridiculous. Only 1 or 2 skills out of the 9 skills that were buffed could be considered core, and they still don't address one of the core's main problems. Drakania's true DPS is in her red form, and almost all of her skills have insufficient AoE. Using 16 skills per pack and still having 3 mobs left without dying is ridiculous. 100% agree. 100% agree. I mean, I don't know. Other things, I feel bad in, I want to see this. I don't know if people agree with me or not. I want to, where is Brimbolt? I want to lock Brimbolt, okay? Why in Pre-Awakening form? We are using Pre-Awakening form to keep ourselves, you know, stay protected. For example, I do this. Wait, hold up. I use this one, I do this, or I use WF, again, I use this one. Whenever I just wanted to leave the Pre-Awakening form into Awakening form, if I just lock Brimbolt, if I press WRMB, why my weapon stance change into directly Hexablood Stormmaul? We have tons of classes using that method. Awakening Wusa is using that. Like right on Awakening Valkyrie is using that. There are other classes too. Like Dosa Awakening is using that with WF if I'm not wrong. Mayagu Awakening using that. We have almost like half of the classes using that. Instant weapon change. Classes already having tons of things in this like. And whenever you do that, you have to use that C-swap thing and you're just being unprotected. For example, you do that, C-swap and dash. They're like gap, front guard scenario or something. On the other hand, for example, I catch someone, catch someone with Drakania is kind of very hard in these days. I catch someone with the Azure. It's Azure, isn't it? Yeah, Azure Onslaught. If I can have that, WRMB, lock, and Storm Azure Onslaught, if I see that I catch the guy, I can instantly change my weapon with WRMB and I can just become Awakening form. I catch someone like this. When you see it, WRMB, bam, float CC, get your buffs, debuffs, and main damage skills. But now what we are doing, when we catch someone like this in fight, we are using Robomb. Fully unprotected float. And you have to change your weapon into Awakening, and then you have to use your Shift F. Full stiffness and float duration, you did literally nothing. You were just trying to change your weapon into Awakening form. Well done.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like there are other things that we can maybe talk about this class. But in PvP, that would be a pretty good solution. Also, I would love to see that please revert the Super Armors, Tectonic Slam, and Savage Decree. We need them. Or do whatever you did to this class to other broken classes. Right now, I have to be toxic. Like half of the classes right now in the game, they even shitting P while they in Super Armor. I'm not kidding. They shitting Super Armor. They have tons of Super Armor like they have protected CCs or something like that. I'm not even talking about how broken they are. I just want to stand. Like I just want to be stay in a stand-up situation, like front guard. Give me them as a Super Armor. These are my Super Armor skills. 1, 2, 3, and kinda half Super Armor skill. 3.5 Super Armor skill and Awakening Kit. You know what we are doing? We are doing this, chat. We are just jumping around like a monkey. We use Azure, we use WF, we do this, we do that. I use Azure again, I do this, and 0 damage, 0 thread. I am just trying to save my ass. I'm just trying to stay protected, to not get CC. Just a random CC by Awakening Striker, roar like a gorilla from here and stun me from here. I don't want to get that, but it is what it is, like, you know? Yeah. Oh, we also have Shift C, sorry. We also have this one, 15-second cooldown. True. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, especially about the point where, you know, like I was saying, it's almost like Awakened Drak is living in a world that doesn't exist, where there's much less CCs. There's no like CC, Awakened Megu spins every 4 seconds or this and that. Like she doesn't have enough super armors to survive anything anymore. Yeah. And especially the core skills, like you can't combo while you're protected. As soon as you go into a combo, you're going to get CC'd. So then in AOS, people are playing like rats or CC bots now, because it's the only way really to play her without taking huge risks. And that's really unfortunate. I mean, this is a great class for AOS. It's one of the main reasons I wanted to learn to play her, so I could switch to Awakened and play small scale with Awakened and play large scale with Succession. But now that's, you know, Succession is doing about the same in EU. We have 11 Succession Draks and 9 Awakened Draks in the Drak top 20. So that tells you a lot. Like a large scale class is doing equally well as a small scale class. So there's something wrong with it. It needs to be fixed. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I want to say thanks to you that we talked about why. I don't know what to put title on this video. I maybe need your help to find a proper title, proper thumbnail or something. Thank you very much for being here. If you have anything to add, please.
No, hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate your support and I appreciate you having me here. This has been fun. But yeah, look forward to collaborating again in the future. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. Mazes Succ Drak main. He's Drakania main, but mainly playing Succession Drakania. And if you have any question, he's streaming. He started to stream just like few weeks ago, maybe, or a few days ago. And you can find lots of knowledge from his stream. And also, you can check his YouTube channel. Thank you so much for this podcast. Now we got to go. Do not forget, BDO is just a game. Have a nice game.